As we reach the final years of our lives, the communities that we live in and our lifestyle choices may change because of factors outside our control. And this theme is at the centre of the Moroccan film Calle Malaga. The star of the film is the actress Carmen Maura, who has appeared in 8 Pedro Almodovar films, with the last one being Volva in 2006. She teams up with the Moroccan director Maryam Tourzani, who made the exceptional queer film The Blue Caftan, which received an Oscar shortlisting for Morocco. Here, Maura plays Maria, a retired widow who lives in the corner of Tangier where the Spanish community inhabits, having come from generations who have migrated from Spain to Morocco in the 1930s to flee the Franco dictatorship. Maria has the most wonderful life living in this small metropolis within Tangier. She greets everyone, such as the market stall owners and the delivery boys, and feels so much part of this community. Her daughter is a nurse and is underpaid and is experiencing financial issues. She herself has actually been left the property rather than Maria, and she has to take the decision she wants to sell the flat that Maria loves in order to help her financially. This would mean that Maria has to make a choice. Does she move back to Madrid with her daughter, or does she go and stay for free in a nursing home within Tangier? She makes the initial decision to go and live in a nursing home, where she decides she has to sell all her belonging and has resigned herself to this is the end of her life. But once she experienced the authoritarianism of the nursing home and being patronized as if someone is about to die, she decides to break free and go back to the empty flat. With no money or income, Maria decides to hold watch parties of particular football matches, which brings in loads of the local communities, where she serves food and drink and alcohol. This provides her with an income that enables her to live a basic standard of living, as well as she continues to rebuy back the possessions that she sold when she moved to the nursing home. She ends up embarking on a relationship with the antiques dealer. She's rebuying back her furniture, and she starts having the best possible life she can. She has loads of sex, she has fun and enjoyment. A big contrast to being washed away in this nursing home. However, when someone wants to buy the flat, Maria has to make a decision. Does she go back to Madrid where she doesn't feel home, or what other options does she have? Calle Malaga won the Audience Award at the Venice Film Festival, and it has been selected as Morocco's official submission for the 98th Academy Award for Best International Feature Film. So let's dig a little deeper about this film. If you're new to my channel, my name is Paul, and I review the best of world cinema, and I followed the race for Best International Feature Film Oscar, from countries selecting their submission to the final winner. Calle Malaga is a real love letter to the idea of communities, and it provides a really alternative perspective on immigration. Maria is from a family who are Spanish, who had to flee the country to avoid a nasty dictatorship. And this really shows how the community she's living in maintains its Spanish identity, but also contributes to the wider Tangier and Moroccan communities, which is a stark contrast to some of the political narratives that have been going across in Western societies. The film really depicts Maria completely in love with this community. She chats with the shop owners, she's friends with the delivery boys, and they do each other favours and whatnot. And it's this really sad situation where she has no other choice than to make a decision which she'll have to leave the area. And while this decision is quite sad, the film has an undertone of comedy in it. So it's not a dark and depressing film. In fact, it's hysterical in some parts. So, for example, Maria goes and speaks to a nun who's taking a vow of silence, and she ends up having these quite explicit conversations about her sex life. And the nun is trying not to react and continue the rules for her vow of silence. There's other moments. So, for example, when she is in the nursing home, she's very feisty and she's defiant because they have these really awful and strict rules, and the way she's spoken to like a child. And that, again, her rebellion against that is done in a very comic manner. And this feels a very different tone to The Blue Caftan. And this film only works because of the remarkable lead performance by Carmen Maura. She continues that element of melodrama that the Pedro Almodovar films she has starred in contained, and she delivers it in a much more subdued way with added touches of comedy. And we really see her acting ability out on display. She is defiant when she's in the nursing home. She is sexy and alive when she starts this new sexual relationship. And if this film was bigger, this would be considered one of the great performances of 2025. And the film really needs this great performance because I don't think it's as complex as it could have been. There's quite an obvious relationship between the mother and daughter, which feels a bit problematic. The mother is her point of view, basically. She is the victim here because she can't continue living where she loves. And the daughter's slightly painted as this selfish, inconsiderate daughter, but actually there is issues between the mother and daughter relationship that the film doesn't particularly touch upon. And I imagine it's a lot more complex and nuanced than the film portrays. And the fact she's a nurse and can't really afford to live and needs the money from the flat suggests that actually they haven't quite got that relationship right in the narrative. The film is clearly written from Maria's point of view, and it has a lot to say about the process of aging and how society treats older people. There is an expectation that you lose the ability to make decisions. You become more childlike, and that's not always the case. There's the expectation that you lose interest in sex once you're older. That's not always the case. This film comes from a really great position of saying, hold on, older people still have their agency. And it explores this through this quite shallow relationship between the mother and the daughter. Morocco have never won the Oscar or been nominated for Best International Feature Film. However, they've had 3 films that have made the shortlist, which included 2 in the last 3 years. This includes The Blue Caftan, as well as The Mother of All Lies, which is a documentary about Moroccan history. Morocco are ranked in the last 10 years 26th because of these recent successes of getting on the shortlist, and they are ranked 53rd on all time. So the big question is, can Calle Malaga make the shortlist, get a nomination, or win the Oscar? I don't think it will. It is quite simplistic, and while it might be quite a crowd pleaser, which could see itself pushed onto the shortlist, I don't think it'll get any further. And I do feel it's two-dimensional in places, but actually, I really enjoyed this film. It is a great laugh if you ignore the fact it doesn't always tackle the complexity that perhaps it thinks it is, and just enjoy this fabulous performance. Then Calle Malaga is a great film. And for this reason, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.